time to start thinking about new additions to your garden, but with so many choices, it might be hard to find the right one. Taft is live with garden expert Paul James for 2 Works for You in the Garden.
All right. We had a camera that just moved on its own just a couple of seconds ago.
Yeah, there you go.
It's coming back to us.
That's a little scary. Here
morning.
we are.
Hey, how's it going out there? All right. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, I remember what we were talking about. Go to the store and we think, oh, I want something that's pretty, something that's a certain color, something that'll fill a certain spot, and we grab a plant like this. But what are we supposed to do when we look at it to determine that the plant we're actually buying is of good quality? What are we supposed to look at?
Well, Taft, that's why I'm here.
I know that's why you're here.
Well, first thing, you kind of want the plant, the above ground portion, to be in proportion to the pot size.
Okay.
So if you'll notice this one, you got a fairly large pot, fairly small plant. So that ideally should grow out a little bit more. The other thing is, give a slight little tug. Go ahead and tug on that and tell me what, ooh, see?
Oh, hey.
That's not rooted out very well.
Not good at all.
So you want to wait and let that root out a little bit.
Okay.
This one, on the other hand, is perfectly proportioned, the pot size, the top growth, and you do see a little flower. Now, you don't always have to buy stuff in flower. Oftentimes, you can just, you know that the tag is telling you what it's going to be, so you don't have to buy something in flower. In fact, in some cases, you want to remove some of those flowers, as you well know, so we get more root development. Then you want to kind of examine those roots, because that's really what it's all about, good, healthy root system.
Okay.
And, you know, take this, for instance. This is a nice little coreopsis, but you see that root mass down there?
I see that.
Now, if I were to try and pull this out, then I could do a lot of damage to the roots. So ideally, what you want to do is just take a pair of scissors and just snip that stuff off a little bit, get those roots out of there. And then this will come out of the pot much, much easier.
Okay.
And then loosen the pot a little bit and pull. Now, you've still got quite a bit of root mass there. So we're going to clean it up even more. What I'm going to do is come in here and just kind of cut like so. See, I'm just making these cuts, and this looks severe, but it's not. And it's really actually good for the plant because it's going to stimulate more root development. And you can just butterfly that out and put that in the planting hole, and it'll be a little healthier and happier. It'll get off to a better start.
A lot of people think we just pull this out, don't want to mess with the roots at all, stuff it in the ground, but you're actually saying to do this actually is going to help in the long run.
Well, yeah, and you know what? If you're planting in, say, beneath a really large tree with a lot of roots, you can't really dig too big of a hole. So doing this butterfly technique will allow you to get down in there. Or if it's in a container in a shallow pot, you can plant like that. What you're really looking for, ideally, white roots. I mean, that is just as spectacular as it gets. This beautiful little Ophiopogon. That's one of your favorites, isn't it?
It is. My top 5, you know that. Why do we expect the white roots? Why are we looking for those?
They're just super new, healthy, vibrant roots.
Okay.
So this has not been in the container all that long. Now, some are growing up, but as you plant, those will go ahead and, you know, you can actually tease them like this. Just tease the roots.
Okay.
Nah, 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 nah. Just
You
tease.
said teasing the roots, not tease the weather guy.
Tease those out, and that'll be, it'll bounce back in no time.
Okay.
So really, again, and if you go to a nursery and you have every right to inspect the roots. Now, don't go crazy and start pulling
ripping them out of the pot.
Right,
Okay.
but go ahead and feel free to have a look and see what kind of root development you've got. Now, that's still a very healthy root mass.
Okay.
You might do a little bit of trimming on the bottom there, but, you know, and if the people get upset for you doing that, then you should shop somewhere else because you're buying this plant. You have every right to inspect not only the top growth, but the roots as well.
So one thing you want to do is you want to take your time. You don't want to fly in there, pick up 4 or 5, throw them in the container and move on out of there. You want to inspect each one of them because they're going to last a lot longer in the long run whenever you put it in the yard.
Exactly.
Okay, real quick, I have about 30 seconds left, Paul. You know, a lot of folks are online, I've noticed they're talking about, wow, how they already have tomatoes. And we've talked about this before, how some of these early parts of the season having tomatoes. What is your thoughts on that? Should we get rid of those and make sure we have better root development, or what's your thoughts?
Right now, I think I'd go ahead and just let those mature.
Okay.
You know, your forecast kind of threw me a little bit. It's about as good a forecast for a gardener this next week as you could hope for. But that 47, you know, that's getting close to where
close, yeah.
It's kind of, but we'll be fine. I mean,
Okay.
Outlying areas, if they're going to drop below that, they might want to consider protecting their tomatoes a little bit. But no, I'd go ahead and let them ripen.
All right, ripen and get that season well underway. And again, the weather's looking good. And if you'd like information on what we talked about today or any of the other segments that we've covered over the last couple of years, you can always go onto our website, kjrh.com. Will, back to you.
Thanks, guys. What